Now let's think about buyers. If we're going to work with the buyers or for the buyers, we need to find them, don't we? Our emphasis in the past years has really been on listing property. Now that we're in a little different market, let's think about we need to be sure to market ourselves to buyers, to find those buyers. We've got a lot of listings that we would like to sell, so we would like to find some buyers that we can work with. One of the great ways to find some buyers is to have a home buyers seminar. It attracts a few people sometimes. It attracts many people sometimes. It's all in the way that you market the seminar. Advertising in rental neighborhoods for about these home buyer seminars, apartment complexes, condos that are rented. If you will advertise in those areas, then it is more likely that you're going to have more people to come to the seminar. Think about your sphere of influence marketing. Let's ask the sphere of influence not necessarily to send us referrals on sellers, but let's get them to thinking about sending us buyer referrals. And think about how we will need to stay in touch with our sphere of influence and make sure that we are asking for their referrals all the time. The very best source of leads that you're going to get are going to be from your sphere of influence. I was reminded even today as I picked up a new publication from Reebok on the buyer agency. And this is telling us that we need to get back to the basics. Back to the basics. Building your business through referrals. And talks about the importance of referrals and knowing how we need to stay in touch with all of these people that have been happy buyers or happy sellers in the past. And then we are asking them for referrals. Now there's another great source of referrals that we don't think about sometimes. What about our business network? Those people that we do business with in the different companies, let's say in the septic tank business, plumbers, electricians, any of the vendors that you do business with, and contractors. Why not set up a business referral network so that you can refer them and they can refer you? A great source of referral for buyers or for sellers at that particular time, if you will set up a business network. It is so important, too, that we know our local market and not go outside of our local market to try to sell buyers a property. Referring business to other realtors is very, very important. If we don't know a market, even though our license would extend to a city 100 miles away or 200 miles away, do we have the advantages that we could go and sell a property in that neighborhood? I would say no. But we can refer the business to a realtor there, and we can exchange. They can refer business to us. It is so important for us to think about referrals between fellow realtors also. The buyers of today, there has just been a National Association of Realtors survey that has been made, and we're finding out an awful lot about buyers for today. In a buyer's market like we have right now, buyers ask themselves, what's the hurry? There's more good properties that could be coming on the market, and I might find something that would be better priced, and I might like it better, and it might be in a better neighborhood. So what's the hurry? There's a lot of properties on the market right now. Even though interest rates are at an all-time low, they're still asking themselves, why not wait until the interest rates go a little bit lower? They're hesitating. And they're just saying, I will wait. I'll wait until the interest rates get a little lower. Be assured, buyers are still buying and sellers are still selling every day. We have just got to come in contact with those buyers that are buying property now. And then when we are a good professional buyer's agent or even working as a transaction broker, we will be able to help some of those buyers that are on the fence get off the fence and buy property now, because we will be able to point out all the good advantages that they have in buying in this market. Do we always sell in the very same way all the time? Well, I would have to say absolutely not, and I believe that you would agree with me. Our profession dictates that we understand the consumers, and all consumers are not the same. The consumers must feel comfortable, and they can only feel comfortable in working with you when you know how to relate to them. We've got to educate the consumer. That is an absolute must. But we must educate ourselves to the consumer's style. And since we know that all consumers are not accustomed to doing business in the same way all the time, we've got to get to know them and understand their style, and then we have got to adapt ourselves to their style of understanding, showing property, and communicating with them. Different behavioral styles determine how we must communicate to truly relate to them. And understanding their style and communicating accordingly will result in showing fewer properties, quicker decisions, and quicker sales. You're working efficiently. And I have heard agents say, you know, I'm working so many hours, I don't see how I can sell any more real estate than what I am right now. I don't see how I can list any more real estate than I am right now. I don't have any more hours. Well, the way that we can do that is to work efficiently. And if we understand the different consumers' different styles and communicate accordingly, then we will be working more efficiently, and we will see quicker decisions made and save us time to go on to other business. We've got to help that consumer to feel confident and comfortable. And if they feel confident in what we are showing them or what we are telling them, they have actually learned to trust us, and they will feel comfortable with us, and it's going to help you in doing your business in a more efficient way, and they will buy in a quicker time frame. Now, let's think about agency or non-agency. We've touched on that. It's the consumer's choice, isn't it? But we have to make sure that we have disclosed it in such a way that they will be able to make their choice. They must know the difference. And how are they going to know the difference between signing a buyer agency agreement and you working with them as a transaction broker? How are they going to know the difference unless you point that out to them? Building rapport with them is so important, and then earning their trust. Now, suppose that when you first disclosed RECAD to them, that they really didn't understand exactly what you were saying. Well, we have been told by attorneys at the National Association of Realtors that were at a meeting that I went to at the National Association of Realtors, and there were 3 attorneys there that were representing different companies that sell errors and omissions insurance. And they were telling us that we should always say to people, whatever the point is that we're trying to get across to them, and say it to them in 3 different ways. Because just because we think that we have communicated, we really haven't sometimes, and that buyer does not understand exactly what we have said. And they don't ask any questions sometimes because maybe we haven't explained it in such a way that they know what questions to ask. So let's take an example there. As I'm explaining RECAD, I am going to be disclosing the different ways that I can work with them or for them, and what I can do as I'm working with them as a transaction broker or for them if they sign this buyer agency agreement. Let's suppose that at this initial time that we have disclosed RECAD, that they do not choose to sign a buyer agency agreement. So another time that I could explain this and maybe get my point across in a little bit different way is I've set up 5 houses to show. I go ahead and call and make the appointments and start to show the houses to these buyers. Now remember, they're my customer and I'm working as a transaction broker. So by the time we get to house number 5, they've already got a pretty good feel for the prices in that particular neighborhood that we're working in. And they say, well, Harriet, don't you think that this house is overpriced? Because judging from the other 4 that you have shown us, this one seems to be overpriced. Well, this is a great opportunity for me to go ahead and explain what I could do for them if I were their agent, if they signed that buyer agency agreement with me. But you know, it's another opportunity that I could step over the boundary lines and start to advocate for them without having that signed agency agreement. And that is a violation of the law. That is considered fraud in the state of Alabama, as you would agree with me. So let's take it back. I'm in the 5th house. They've asked me the question, Harriet, do you think that this house is overpriced because the other 4 seem to be priced so much better in this neighborhood than this 5th one? This is the time that I'm going to explain in a different way. This will be my 2nd time to explain to them about RECAD. Well, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Bauer, I will not be able to tell you anything about my judgment on the price unless you are my client. I would have to be able to get you to sign the buyer agency agreement where you have employed me to be your agent, and I would be working with you as an agent-client basis relationship. Then I would be able to do a competitive market analysis and draw conclusions for you that will show you what price that you should offer for any of the houses that we're going to be looking at. So I would love to do that for you. Would this be a time that you would like to sign a buyer agency agreement with me? Sometimes that's the very time that they will sign that buyer agency agreement with you, because they say, oh, well, Harriet, I didn't understand that that was one of the benefits. You see, we thought we explained it so that they knew all the benefits, but we didn't really explain it well enough to them that they received the knowledge of this was a benefit. So this is a time for us to gain their trust, to earn their trust, and for them to go ahead and sign that buyer agency agreement with us. Now, does it make a difference in showing the buyer on the different types of houses? Well, let's think about it. Showing the buyer the difference about client level services. Now, if you are my client, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you sign a buyer agency agreement with me, and I will be able to go out and find any kind of property that you're looking for and market myself in different neighborhoods. Suppose you tell me, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, that you like a certain neighborhood and there's not any houses for sale in there. If you are my client, I could go out and knock on doors, or I could put some little door hangers on the doorknobs of each of the houses to say, I have a buyer client that would like to live in your neighborhood. Is there a possibility that you would be interested in letting me show your house and possibly selling? This is done for our buyer clients. If you are a customer, I couldn't do that. As a customer, I can only show you what is in a multiple listing, because that's what I would be able to do at a customer level of service. So you see, that's one benefit with you being my client, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. I would be able to search out more properties. I would be able to go through those for sale by owners, and I would be able to knock on doors and try to find you a property, because I'll be working for you, directly for you, and I would be seeking to find you that right house in the shortest length of time, at the best price and the best terms. Those are my goals as I am your client, as you are my client, and I am your agent.